Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leader in rushing, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay, here to talk Packers Eagles this evening. Got a bunch of stuff to dive into. Another injury report dropped. Got a couple of names that popped up on it. We'll have a conversation about that. Brandon McManus give you an update on what Rich Bisaccia had to say about him and Havrisik, which kicker is going to play here on Monday night. Also, offensive coordinator Adam Stenavich on Matthew Golden, kind of talking about the lack of production up to this point. We'll do the Packers-Eagles red zone efficiency breakdown. This is something we haven't talked about a lot this year. I'm excited about diving into that. Hafley also talking about the takeaways or lack thereof. We'll get his soundbite, hear what he had to say, and then we'll do a little PFF preview if we have time. But before we do, if you guys would, do that YouTube stuff, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, talking Packers on the daily. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified every time we do go live, like we did a couple of times earlier today. So typically you can find at least one, sometimes two or three different live shows here on this particular channel. It's always geared around the Green Bay Packers. Tim, how you doing, man? I heard you were sipping coffee over there at 6 o'clock in the afternoon/evening.
Yeah, got to do a little diesel. You know, you need that late afternoon, early evening pick me up sometimes, right?
That's right. I'm on the hot tamales over here. Not Emilio's type of tamales, but the candy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The fierce cinnamon is what it says here. So I apologize for the hacking in the coffin. It will continue as we continue to try to get past this, whatever the heck it was. So let's do this, Tim. Let's start off with the injury report. I want to go rapid fire tonight if we can, and just get everybody. You know, we got like 6 different topics. I'd like to spend 8, maybe 10 minutes on each topic and just roll through a bunch of information. The game plan, we've started putting this together. We talked about it already. If you guys are not a member on Patreon, go to patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. $3 get you access to everything there. We do something called the game plan every week. Typically, we release it by Friday, but of course, it being a Monday night game, it will be finalized by tomorrow evening. So we'll have that information out, just give you a detailed game plan on how the Packers should approach this game. And we've been pretty spot on up to this point in terms of identifying maybe some weaknesses of other teams, things like that, and maybe what the Packers are doing well and doing not so well and trying to steer clear of those things as well. But first part of the game plan is obviously the injury report. Tim, we had a couple of new names that popped up with the addition also of Micah Parsons, who popped up yesterday with the pec injury. He was limited both days. He's good to go. But now we've got Matthew Golden, who was limited with the shoulder Thursday, did not participate today. So I'm wondering if maybe the Matthew Golden situation is, hey, let's give him an extra day of rest, get him out there Saturday, and then see if he's good to go, maybe a full participation Saturday. Tomorrow's injury report should tell us the entire story there with Matthew Golden in that shoulder, though.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We're looking for a game status, right? I'm assuming he'll be probably questionable going into this game, which, you know, flip a coin. Hopefully he's suited up and going, because we're kind of banged up here in that wide receiver room. A lot of nagging injuries. But, you know, you need MG. You need all your weapons out there. You know, we'll go over this list, but, you know, Malik Heath on the report, you know, Tay Wicks coming back from the calf. I mean, this receiver room, other than, I guess, Scoot and maybe Rome, I think those are probably the only 2 guys that are 100% right now in our wide receiver room going into this game.
Yeah, and you mentioned Malik Heath. That's another one that kind of popped up. I think he popped up today, right, with a hip injury. He was limited. The fact that he was limited gives me a little bit of hope that maybe it's not that serious. Malik Heath's a guy that you're going to probably have to lean on a little bit here, right? You know, one thing that you can supplement, you know, the lack of having Tucker Kraft there and helping block in that 11 personnel and 12 personnel is you can now go away from 12 and get into 11 personnel and have Malik Heath as one of those receivers, much like Christian Watson, that you can line up in the wing position. And that'll put you basically, it's like having an extra tight end. The only difference is rather than there be a stack backer across from him, it'll probably be a nickel back. that'll kick in there, unless they're looking to do some kind of matchup.
Nickelback is in a nickel corner, not a Jacob's favorite band, right?
Correct. And that's how we know Jacob. We'll keep that to ourselves. All right. If you know, you know, which, by the way, Elijah Gwynn in the chat, my baby boy Matthew Golden, he's got the crying emoji. And then someone else said something in here. Where's it at? They had commented on Jacob. I already lost it, but they said Jacob
his quota.
Yeah, he's meeting the quota. Who was it that said that? Was that Chuck Jaggers? I believe it was, right? Yeah.
I think it was. There it is.
So we know Jacob is out making the quota for the month. If you know, you know, right? And we'll just leave that. So anyway, Matthew Golden, Malik Heath, and then the Micah Parsons situation as well. This list looks long here, Tim, but honestly, man, what you're really looking at is you're going to be without. I imagine you're going to be without LVN, right? Yep. The cool thing is Dontavion Wicks is practicing in a limited fashion this week, so maybe he'll be active on Sunday. Now, if he is or on Monday, I apologize. If he is active, I can't imagine he's going to get a whole lot of snaps. You know what I mean? He'll be on somewhat of a snap count, kind of working him back into the fold, because he's been out for a while with that calf injury, at least 3 or 4 weeks. Am I thinking right, Tim?
Yeah, and it's something he's been dealing with since OTAs, I believe, or right around training camp time. So off and on, kind of a nagging injury. But, you know, even if we can get 15 or 20 snaps out of him, we're going to need it, considering how this receiver room looks right now. You know, looking at Matthew Golden, man, anytime you go from limited to a DNP, that's not a good sign, you know. So we're hoping for the best here. Like you said, we'll know more tomorrow going into Monday night.
Yeah, and it looks like the calf injury with Malik Willis popped up too. He was limited today. And the good news is Savion Williams, though, with the foot injury, did not participate yesterday. He did participate today. We showed some video footage of that practice earlier on the show, on the live stream. And to me, he looked good. He looked good to go. Showed him leaping for one catch. Another one, he was working some kind of bag drill. I think he's going to be good to go there. Savion will be all right come game time as well. Now, another one,
opposite of Golden, right? Went from DNP to limited, and MG went the other way around. So it's just this is why we have the depth we have in that receiver room, to be able to have the personnel available, even if they're not quite 100%.
Right. And another player who hasn't been 100%, but looks like he is now full participation both days, is our boy Brandon McManus. Rich Bisaccia was asked about him earlier today. And Rich Bisaccia, this was a tweet that went out from Rob Domofsky. Coach Bisaccia said, Brandon McManus will kick on Monday night against the Eagles. Quote, he's getting healthier, and he's had a pretty good week kicking the ball. So, we were kind of wondering, okay, with the McManus miss the other night and him being a little less accurate, a little more inaccurate, I guess you could say, this season, maybe they take a step back, let Haverstick go out there and get him completely healthy. Sounds like it's all systems go for Brandon McManus. I'm excited about getting him back out there to his old form, where he was, to be honest with you, he was the most accurate kicker in the league last year. Kicked over 90% complete field goal percentage. If I remember correctly, there was only one player that had a higher field goal percentage, and he only had like less than 5 kicks. So it was a very skewed number. So Brandon McManus, love to get that just ice in his veins back out there, because he hits that that kick last week, we're winning that ball game. If he hits that kick, or Matt LaFleur decides to go for it, or to kick the field goal as opposed to go for it on 4th down when they were inside the 20, you're winning that ball game. So both ended up being huge plays. So it looks like McManus is going to be good to go, Tim.
That's good news, right? Because he is kind of an OG. He's getting older, not younger, but still, in my opinion, still good anywhere inside 60 yards. He still has the ability to stretch that range. And I think, each day that hammy is feeling a little bit better, we're going to see McManus go back to, what we're used to seeing, not missing kicks, being McMoney, as we so eloquently call him on this show. Brandon McMoney McManus. I think he'll be ready to go Monday night.
Yeah, I sure hope so, man. I just hope he's 100%. That's my main thing. I want him back out there, back to his old self, because you're going to have to work that rust out as well. I think that's what you seen last week. I think he had a little bit of the in his own mind a little bit, maybe wasn't a completely healthy. He's thinking about the quad. You don't want to overcompensate. You don't want to push it, right? You go out there and you pull one to the left. Nobody was more devastated than McManus himself. So, all right, moving along. Offensive coordinator Adam Stenavich at the podium earlier today was asked about Matthew Golden. Rob Domofsky tweeted out, Packers OC Steno on Matthew Golden's lack of opportunities. Quote, he just has to trust the process and keep working. It's only a matter of time before he has one of those games, end of quote. Here's the thing, too. I've seen people in the comments. I've seen people tweeting, well, they need to stop throwing short to him and let him stretch the field. That's what he does well. I don't know if they actually watched the ball game. I mean, we tried a deep shot to him, right? Diving attempt. It fell incomplete. Like, if the opinion there, Tim, is we should chuck it deep to Matthew Golden every play, sorry, man, I'm too drunk to taste that chicken. Like, he's had his deep shot opportunities, and you got to keep moving everything around, keep working everything underneath, take what the defense is giving you. You put yourself in a position to win that ball game last week. The last thing you want to do is fall into that trap of early 2023. Jordan Love got off to a slow start trying to force the ball to Christian Watson. And then when they finally got away from that, started taking what the defense was giving them, everything kind of opened up for Christian Watson later on in the season. So I think you're going to see that with Matthew Golden. Just got to stay diligent. And I've seen people raking him over the coals because he deactivated his Instagram account. And they're, oh, he's upset. No, maybe he's going, I need to focus more on football. You know, I think it's more of that. Matthew Golden, anybody who's had any kind of interaction with him or you follow him on social media at this point, just a good dude, hard worker. Love the fact that he's so rooted in his faith. He's very faith-based in every bit of the process of him being a professional athlete. I think he's going to be just fine. I'm trying not to get aggravated, but it bothers me that fans, so-called fans of the team, keep fueling that fire, making comments about Matthew Golden, whether it's a negative comment about Matthew Golden or another negative comment about the team that need to get him more involved. That doesn't help the situation. And if we think for a second those guys aren't seeing what's being said and hearing what's being said, you're kidding yourself. It's just like when you bash a player for underperforming, thinking that's going to help. No, that's going to make them want to go, I don't want to play for this damn team. That's all that does. So Matthew Golden, though, man, I think it's going to break loose. We've seen it. We showed it on Chalk Talk, Tim, that 30-yard dig to Matthew Golden or to Romeo Doubs. That doesn't happen if three defenders don't follow Matthew Golden. Typically, you'll get 3-on-2, 4-on-3 type look, box over 3, triangle over 2. Matthew Golden was the only receiver running that climb in the area, and you had 3 defenders boxing him in, man. So I think sooner or later, these teams are going to go, well, crap, number 9 stretching the field. We're going to have to bracket him. It's going to open things up for Golden.
That's exactly what I was thinking, and Jen Wright's on the same page with us. Watson and Golden going to open stuff up for each other.
Yes.
You know, run the right routes, stay crisp, you know, like Steno's saying, trust the process. And honestly, man, I'm with you, Clay. I don't like the idea of just sending MG on 9 routes all day, you know, and chucking the ball up. I like the idea of getting it to him quick in space, maybe a blocker, you know, crossers, dagger concept. Let Scoot stretch the field, draw that coverage, and hit MG all day long. You know, this could be the game we see it. Honestly, Monday Night Football. I mean, we're kind of banged up in the receiver room. If Golden is a go, I would anticipate they're going to try and get him involved for sure.
Yeah. And that specific play where Golden drew the coverage with him, it was a 3-by-1 set. We were trips left, nub right, if I remember correctly. And what we ran was dagger 3 climb, essentially. The number 3 receiver, which was Matthew Golden, was running a climb route. You could also call that slot cross to go, right? Meaning there's the number 2 receiver in the middle is running a go route, and that's split in the slot cross concept, which is a backside dig, front side climb route, right? So the fact that they rotated the coverage to cover Matthew Golden on that crosser and opened up that dig. I love that Jordan read it out right too, man. Literally ball snap. He immediately reads the safeties. All right, Golden's off the table. They got a lot of resources allocated there. Work back to the 2. The 2 on the go route was Christian Watson. He didn't like the look there. Feather that thing in with a perfect touch on the pass to Romeo Doubs on the dig. So you end up picking up 30 yards on a 2nd and 20, I think it was. Just an excellent play. So, again, that doesn't happen if Matthew Golden isn't drawing that coverage away. Again, you just got to know what to look for, man. I don't mean to sound I don't mean to sound like a smart ass or like I'm smarter than anyone else. God knows I'm not. But when I see these takes with people who have huge followers, and I'm like, man, are you even watching the game? Or you just, I guess it is just engagement farming, right? They're just, they know, okay, this is what the average fan will latch onto. This is the reason, right? Like Ryan Schlipp did a great job on his podcast the other day talking about people hear another podcaster or someone who claims they're a professional and they understand what they're talking about, they'll make a blanket statement, right? Just like the screen pad. I'm tired of the screen. I'm tired of the screens. One or two people say that, the whole fan base latches on, but not a damn one of them are mentioning the Savion Williams touchdown last week in Pittsburgh. That was a huge play on the bubble screen. So all those things, you got to take it all and put it into one pot and really dive into the tape and go, okay, what were they trying to accomplish here? What are the pre-snap looks? What have they been running all year long? Did they get caught playing left-handed on that specific play? All those things that come into factors. So, again, I think Matthew Golden's going to be just fine. One thing I am concerned about, though, Tim, I want to talk about this a little bit, is the red zone efficiency. You know, we showed the rankings the other day. The Packers are pretty much top 10 in just about every important category, right? So then you look up and go, well, why are we struggling in key situations where we're maybe not getting over the hump against a team like Cleveland or Carolina, where you should have won those ball games and you were in them all the way to the end, right? You had a chance when one score game. So red zone efficiency is one of those things that really does come into play. This is also a part of the game plan article we just told you about. So let's talk about offensive red zone scoring, okay? When it comes to offensive red zone scoring and this matchup against Philly, Philly's the best in the league, Tim. And keep in mind, this is scoring percentage, okay? When they get in the red zone, this is the percentage in which they score touchdowns, okay? I love this statistic because it removes the chip shot field goal. The heck with that. I want to know how efficient someone is at scoring touchdowns once they get into the red zone, right? When you get to a 1st and 10 at the 18-yard line, all right, how efficient are you at getting the ball into the end zone? Anybody can kick that field goal, right? So sometimes when you just take the overall points in red zone and red zone efficiency and you include the field goals, sometimes what can happen there, Tim, is you have an explosive play on offense, a 35-yard pass that gets you inside the 20, and then you have to settle for a field goal, and that looks positive because you got points in the red zone. No. The goal is to punch it in. Keep in mind, we're taking the field goal 9 times out of 10. Me personally, I'm a boring fan in that regard. I'm not saying you should go for it on 4th down inside the 20. I'm simply saying I love how this removes the extra information. But you see, Philly in 2025, 85% success rate on scoring touchdowns when they're inside the 20, once they reach inside the 20. The Packers are 11th at 62%. This doesn't worry me on Green Bay's side. You're right around top 10. It can be better, and it needs to be better, right? However, Philly being first, Tim, that's kind of got me like, boy, oh boy, that could be an issue, right? That's one of the strengths of their game is when they get inside the 20, they're going to punch that thing in for 6. We've really got to key in on that, spend some extra time this week in practice trying to put and formulate together a game plan to stop their red zone efficiency.
I agree 100%. And, that's on our defense, right? One other name on that injury report that I forgot to mention is Colby Wooden being a thumbs up, according to his own words.
Right.
He's ready to go, which is a good sign because Colby Wooden's probably playing the best damn football he's played in his career right now. And we're going to need all hands on deck, especially in the red zone against that Philadelphia offense. It's like Matt said in the presser earlier, right? You want to stop the tush push. Don't put them in a situation to run it.
Right.
Let's limit this. Let's put them in situations where it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7, 4th and 5, be stout on the defensive end. And then when it comes to red zone scoring offensively, we got to step our game up. It's nice that we're still teetering around top 10, but we need to improve and punch that ball in the end zone. Like you said, Clay, we can't be sitting here kicking field goals or, trying to go for it on 4th and 8 in the red zone because we screwed the pooch a couple of times. We need to go in there and hammer it home.
Got to do it, man. So again, quick little recap. Offensive red zone scoring percentage, touchdowns only. Philadelphia is 1st in the National Football League at 85%. And they were 100% in that last win over the Giants, okay? The Packers, 11th at 62.8%. They dipped down to 50% over the last 3 games, and they were only at 20% that last game. Coach Lynn says, I missed the gold zone.
I love gold. You remember that?
Yeah, isn't it cool, Coach, that when a coach puts emphasis on something specifically and you get complete buy-in from the team, it's amazing how it can really move the needle. Now, you got something very similar in the turnover, what we call the ball king this year, right? But it's a little bit different. The year before, when they went to the gold zone, they struggled in the red zone, right? So it's like, let's let's make something fun here. Last year, Matt LaFleur, Jeff Hafley knew they had an uphill battle because the amount of turnovers they had last year, Tim, specifically the interceptions, that's so rare that a team has that many the way they did. So they knew, let's put extra emphasis on taking the ball away, punching the ball out, that type of thing, because we know the chances of duplicating that success back-to-back years is really, really slim. I love that they put that extra emphasis on it. But with this situation here, though, with the red zone scoring, let's go to defense. Defensive red zone scoring percentage, touchdowns only once again. So this is how effective your defense is at keeping the opponent out of the end zone once they reach the 20-yard line, right? Philadelphia, Tim, third best in the league at only 46.1%. They've got a great red zone. They get the best red zone offense in the league and a top 3 red zone defense in the league. So when you look at some of the analytics, you look at the grades, the numbers, you look at Philly and go, how are they 5-2 or whatever their record is, 6-2, whatever it is? How do they have that good of a record and the other numbers are down? Specific situations like this, what we call situational football, understanding when you get in the red zone, man, the money is on the table. And here's what worries me a little bit. Green Bay's red zone defense, 63%. That's 23rd in the league. So when you look at the numbers, and yes, we've got the top pass defense in the league in terms of yards per pass attempt. You're looking good. Run defense dipped after last week. We're down to 9th now, so we're still a top 10 run defense, right? And then scoring defense, I think we were top 10 as well. You look at that and go, okay, we're a top 10 defense. But once again, situational football, red zone efficiency on defense, 63%, 23rd best in the league. This really does spell success for Philly, although what happened the rest of the year doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen on Monday night. They better be putting emphasis on it over at 1265.
I agree 100%. The best defenses tighten the hell up when their back's against the wall, right? You get across midfield, you see, top defenses starting to tighten up, try and force that long field goal. But, when it comes down to the red zone, that's when you absolutely have to execute down there. That's one of the rare occurrences where I do like some of these cover one man looks that half mixes in. Like when you're in that red zone situation, you're backed up against the goal line, you got a short field, you're trying to be a little more aggressive. It's kind of been 50-50 working out for us, but it's no secret that the best defenses in football, the closer you get to knocking on the door in that red zone, the best defenses tighten up. And I think we have the talent and we have the staff and we have the scheme to do it. We just got to execute out there and not give up them tutters. Let them kick field goals on us all day, but don't give up the tutters.
Yeah, we got Emilio joining us now. Emilio, I want to get your take on this. This is something you talk about all the time, like red zone efficiency and also controlling the penalties. I just pointed out to everybody, offensive red zone scoring percentage, touchdowns only. So this removes that noise of the field goals that are kicked. Philly is number 1 in the league. Green Bay is 11th. Okay. And then on defense, preventing touchdowns in the red zone, Philly is 3rd best. That's where Green Bay struggled on defense this year. 23rd at 63%, man. We got to get the red zone efficiency cranked up here, man.
Yeah, and I think that's something, perfect that you could have in practice. Okay, it's going to, we always talk about iron sharpens iron all the time. You get everybody out there. All right, the offense needs to be more efficient and better in the red zone, and the defense needs to be able to stop that. I like Tim's take there. You get a cover one look here and there. You can, you can press them. You have that extra defender as that back line. You can't, they can't go higher than that. You have got a lot of faith in X, and, the range of him and Williams. And we have the linebacker speed, I think, to run all that. It's just we need to hammer down, right? If you're here, we're tied for 23rd there. We need to be top 15, top 10, as we're closing into the end of the season. You're going to have to tighten up. Yeah, we haven't given up a lot of points, but when we have, it was to Dallas and a couple of other high scores, and our losses are low scores. But again, the defense feels like they could probably hold them out, maybe just field goals in those games and things like that. So I do think that that's a necessity, and the offense needs to turn it up 100%.
Yeah, definitely. So again, red zone is one of those key points that the Packers are struggling at a little bit, right? Mostly on defense. So when we look at those numbers, understand you got the best pass defense in the league, all these things that we talk about all the time. Turnovers are down and red zone efficiency's down. That, what that screams to me? Probably going to lose some really, really close games that you had a chance to win. That's really what it comes down to. So
I mean, and that's what Hafley was saying in his presser too, though, right, Clay? Is that we had a lot of turnovers, but maybe not masking, but maybe that kind of filled in a couple of the blips in the defense from last year, and made them out to just be a little bit better. But is he about to hit it right here?
This is it. Yeah, this is him talking about the lack of takeaways this season. I love how he laid this out. Listen real close, guys, and hopefully the volume's good enough for you guys and gals who are listening on the pod as well. I love what he said here is like the fact that our defense is essentially what he's saying is the fact that our defense is ranked so high, even without the takeaways, he's not looking at it like, oh, crap, we got to fix this takeaway problem. He's going, damn, look how good our defense has been. If we can get the takeaways, holy cow, you're going to be an elite defense. So I love what he says here. Let's hear it. And it's a little bit long. Maybe I'll pause it in between a little bit and we'll chat about it. But here we go. Jeff Hafley at the podium earlier today.
You spent all of the offseason talking about the takeaways, and here you are, you're 31st. But you've had a couple here and there. Do you feel like you're making some headway there, or is it still a major concern for you?
No, we've had 3 takeaways in the last 3 games, so we're trending in the right direction. The other thing is, if you look back in the last 3 games, is we had the one that went under review, so we were closer there, right? The one on Keyshawn when he almost took the ball away. I believe that might have been the Arizona game. And then last week we had the sack fumble. And they recovered it for a 6-yard gain, if you remember that one. Yeah, me too. And so we're getting closer. And I can look you in the eye and tell you that we are getting closer. We've had a takeaway in the last 3 games, and that's the step in the right direction. And I think if we continue to do that and hit them at the right time, I think it's going to help us out a lot. The impressive part is, last year at this time, I thought we were playing good defense, and I think we relied a lot on takeaways to hold people under 20 points or however many we were doing. This year, we're doing that and probably playing better defense, and we're not getting as many takeaways. So if we can continue and climb and get better just fundamentally in playing defense and add those takeaways, I think you're going to see a really dominant defense as we go, and that's the plan. But I see progress towards it, and I think our coaches are doing a really nice job emphasizing it. And I think we're starting to throw punches again, and I think we're getting more competitive. I think our corners in the last 2 games have been really competitive on routes, because even, now I'm thinking again, even their biggest pass of the day, CV was right there. And I mean right there. Like, I kind of jumped up in the booth. You probably didn't see it because you were looking for Downard. But he was right there, and that's like, we're close. So he's going to make that play the next time. So I am encouraged. I'm not happy with the number at all, but I'm encouraged in the way we're trending.
If you guys were wondering what we were laughing about there, he was talking about Ryan Downard, right?
Yeah.
And Ryan Downard's usually in the box. I think Jason Wilde asked him, like, hey, where was RD? Why wasn't RD up there in the box with you or whatever? And Jeff Hafley made a big joke out of it, like the fact that they noticed it, right? So it's hilarious. He said, you probably didn't notice it because you were looking for RD. You were looking for, Downard. But just he's so witty, man. He's so good at what he does. But, yeah, in terms of the takeaways, once those start to come, obviously, you want to continue to emphasize it, right? You've got to continue to harp on it. Once they start to come, this defense could truly be elite. In the meantime, need to get that running game going on offense so we could play what we call complementary football. What do you think about that, Emilio? We'll let you go first, and I'll get your take too, Tim. I just love hearing Hafley talk ball. It's so genuine. There's nothing fake about him. You can tell he loves the game. He loves figuring out the game. You can tell he's a problem solver. Just so glad he's our defensive coordinator, man.
Yeah, like Jen said here, could listen to Haf all day. Absolutely. He's man, it's just his energy, his excitement, the way he explains things, the way his mind triggers when something gets triggered. For him to think about it, and you going over the defense, they've been turning it up. Right, we've had a loss. Okay, fine, but they've gotten better. Mike has been getting more snaps. He understands. Every time I see Micah when he's not on the field, if he's not getting a breather right at the edge of the sideline, that dude has an iPad in his hand and is swiping through every bit of film he can to see what he can do to get better. Because Hafley talks about it every week. They have a Micah plan. Each team does that they're going to go ahead and approach him with. That's going to be completely separate from any normal defense that they've seen. So Hafley now needs to start pre-prepping for the Micah defense that everyone's, going to try to hit him with. I think that the defense is making those adjustments, getting better. And I think it was Tim, you were talking earlier about Kobe, or maybe it was Clay, but get the general back out there. We need that man out there. It was tough without him. And I'm sorry, Kobe, for even considering you on the bubble at the beginning of the year.
Right. All of us, we all look stupid,
because
right?
that dude is he's the heart of that interior that we need right now. I want to see D. Watt tear it up, but right now we need Kobe and get LVN back out there, and this defense can really get humming.
Absolutely. To your point too, you see Hafley adjusting his approach. We talk about, the cheetah package and, Micah getting lined up in different spots, not just coming off the edge, getting creative. It's gonna really, we're going to see the culmination of all of this at some point. Hopefully it's Monday night against the Eagles, because we need this win big time at home in prime time. But one of the things that stood out to me with Hafley's presser there is, you can't tell me that this guy doesn't love his players. Oh, yeah. He's quick to mention, the play with Keyshawn, the play with CV. Hey, do you guys remember that? Oh, he was in his hip pocket. He was right there. I mean, this is a coach that will go to bat for his players and wants to put them in a position to be successful. And, really when it comes to, the ball king and that mentality of, always go after the ball, always punch it out, sometimes that can bite you in the ass, right? You're trying to play the ball and you're not wrapping up. You're not making the tackle. So I think we're going to see more of that aggressivity towards the end of these plays when guys get stood up and you want to punch in and rip at that ball. That's great. But play fundamental defense and get the stops when we need it. That's the main thing. And, the turnovers are going to come. It will happen. You just got to play within the scheme and play fundamentally sound for sure.
Yeah, I love what you said there too. It made me think of the Lombardi quote. What was it? He said, battles are won in the hearts of men. And once you've won their heart, they'll follow you anywhere.
That's right.
It's so true, man. Like people don't care what you know until they know that you care. Period. Case closed. That's just it's the way human nature works. So, again, that's just kind of a breakdown of what Hafley had on it. And I love that he said it about Carrington Valentine. We're all seeing it. Yep. I mean, he is just on. There's so few plays that you look up and go, Val got burnt there, right?
He's a grown ass man now, and
he's always in a spot to make a play. And man, if he'd have picked that pass off, we probably win that ball game again.
And even on that Tet catch, Clay, he pulled it. Tet just had strong hands, pulled
it. Yeah, that was Tet McMillan just being Tet McMillan on that one.
Yeah, definitely. Ed Madden asking here, Doc, did you see any clips of Micah in practice? Does he look all right to you? Based off what I've seen in the practice footage, to me, he looks okay. So, yeah, let us know in the chat there, Doc, what you think. And I think he had mentioned some stuff in YouTube comments, Holmes did earlier, about just some details around a pec injury like that. He didn't seem, correct me if I'm wrong, Doc, but you didn't seem too concerned about what we've seen up to this point. I think
a little tweak on that pec, from being held and strangled,
could have been
every single snap. Yeah, for
could
sure.
have been. Absolutely.
That's how Matt should have responded to it. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was the holding that got him, but the call got missed. I don't know.
It would have been beautiful, beautiful. So we were talking about the point spread, right? It opened up at 2.5 points. We're talking about how all the money was on Philly for the most part. All the tickets were on Philly for the most part. The line has now shifted to 1.5 points. So the Packers are 1.5 point favorites now. Just a quick update before we get into the lineup matchups here. 93% of the public's money is on the Eagles plus 1.5. 83% of the tickets are on them. Money line winning outright, 84% of the money is on the Eagles, 78% is on the, or 78% of the tickets are on the Eagles to win outright. I love this.
Scared money don't make money.
I absolutely love the fact that the public is so heavy on Philly in this game, man. You guys know how I feel about that. So really excited to see how this one unfolds. Let's get into the lineup matchups here real quick. And this was a lot of fun to kind of begin to dive into here. We're going to go offense. We'll go 11 personnel first. Our 11 personnel offense, which is a 3 wide receiver set. All right, from left to right, PFF grades. Offensive lineman, Walker 66, Banks 58, Jenkins 62, Jordan Morgan 56, and Zach Tom 81. So Elton Jenkins is the 20th highest graded center in the game right now. I think some of us would think he's probably playing worse than that. PFF seems to think he's top 20. I expected a lot more for him moving to center, but I do feel like it's getting a little bit better in that regard. We just got to get the running game going, man. I want to see outside zone plays, man, so bad. I think that's what's missing. That would open up this running attack and boot action off of that a little bit, just to hold those backers at home a little bit more. When you look at their defensive front, guys, Jalen Carter struggling this year, man. Look at his PFF grade, 2023, 87. Last year, 73. This year, he's sitting at a 60.6. So Jalen Carter off the kind of a slow start, according to PFF. And then the other one, Jordan Davis, former Georgia Bulldog, there in the middle. He's been as steady Eddie as they come. And this is the dude that torched the combine, run a crazy 40-yard dash, 6'6", 336 pounds. He was the 13th overall pick. His PFF grade, 72, 70, 71, 72 throughout the course of his career. So in the middle there, Jalen Carter having a little bit of a down year. You guys know how I talk about this. You can look at it and go, oh, man, he's not as good as we thought he was. Or you can look at it and go, boy, he's due for a breakout game, right? That worries me a little bit there. So when you look at how his game's graded out this season, do we have that? We do not have that. It's just by the year, isn't it? I don't want to leave that page or to throw everything else. So I wanted to see kind of what his ceiling was this year. But nonetheless, he grades out of 60 so far. They also picked up Jalen Phillips, right? That was that trade from Miami. Pretty solid player. PFF grades starting in 21, 53, 88, 79, 66, 66. Based off the recent history, I kind of feel like he's probably that mid-60s player, not a bad player. He can have flashes, have big games. He can wreck you from time to time. He's a former first-round pick out of Miami. He was the 18th overall selection. So really, when you're looking for Tuesday players here, Tim, on defense for them, Jordan Davis grabs your attention. I still think I would put Jalen Carter as a Tuesday player on the defensive line. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but PFF right now seems to think he's the 59th best defensive tackle in football right now. What do you think, Tim? Do you think this defensive line, I think you could get caught sleeping on them and they could wreck your game plan quick if you're not careful?
Yeah, for sure. You can't overlook Jalen Carter, regardless of what PFF says. You know, PFF hates Quay Walker. They give him low grades every week. And
Tim's going to mention it every week.
Quay's having his best year as a Packer. So I'm not going to let that tilt my opinion too much. You got to account for that dude in the middle. And I'm with you, man. I'd like to see some maybe some off tackle runs, something outside, mix it up a little bit, get those big defensive linemen moving laterally rather than crashing down. And then, yeah, obviously Davis too, another one that you've got to account for, but I'm not willing to sleep on Carter. Jalen Carter's still a Tuesday player in this Philly defense for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Jalen Carter, his grades per game, real quick from this year, didn't play week 1 because he spit on the dude. So week 2, 56, 364, 472, 549, 767, and 853. So he's had a couple of, rough games. Really, it just seems like his tackling and his pass rush haven't gotten together. He was in the 20s for week 2 through 5 in tackling, and then the past 2 weeks he had a 70. But those 2 weeks, his pass rush grade wasn't the best. I mean, around a 60-ish. So the dude is still there. He's still, a machine. They have 2 first-round picks in the top 15 sitting right there over your center guard. That's going to be a problem that you're going to have to deal with. We saw what happened last year. It wasn't Glover's fault. He just got put on blast. Okay. So
there it is.
take it easy on my man. But we're gonna have to work on the interior. I did want to pull this up. I'll save Donovan's real quick. I just want to see here, Coach Lynn. This was earlier, but does anyone here miss Josh Myers? I don't know if I'm there yet. I want to see a little bit more from Elton, but I get what you're saying, Coach. I do. Because Chris said the same thing. He said, I do, Coach. Never thought I'd say that. And there's just, it's nothing against Elton or anything like that. You got to take your battles there. I like our O-line. I think we can have a great wall up front, but they need to hammer some things out.
And just a quick update on Josh Myers and his grades compared to Elton Jenkins. Elton Jenkins 62.1. Josh Myers 59.6 is where he's at. He has played 513 snaps. I think they signed him to be a backup center. I want to say their starting center got hurt. But, so he's according to PFF, right? It is what it is.
Right.
He's not playing as well as Elton Jenkins right now.
And where is Josh again? Giants?
He's with the Jets.
Oh, the Jets. Okay.
Yeah. I bet he's loving
Green
it.
Bay East. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I was pretty vocal in the offseason that, listen, I don't think Josh Myers is the answer at center. I think we've seen enough of it to know he's not a top 10 center in the league. He's never going to be, right? However, when you talked about him not getting much of much attention in free agency and him getting, what was it, $1.5 million on a 1-year deal,
Mm-hmm.
I would have gave him $2 million with 300,000 guarantees to get your butt up here. We want you back as a backup center. You'd be in a little bit better spot right now. You'd have a little flexibility when you get these injuries to kick Elton over to left guard and play Josh Myers at center.
Do you think they'd be willing to do that? If we did have Josh, like, do you think that they would be willing to move Elton around and kind of, bring him in and stuff like that?
It's a good question, man. I don't know, man. Tim, what do you think? Because it does kind of feel like I'm just going to say it, man. You guys know
I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. It feels like Elton's got 1 foot out the door already, right?
Yeah, and I try to be positive, but I'm going to say something that I don't think many people talk about, and I don't understand why they don't, because every other week we're talking about firing this coach, firing that coach, bench this player, cut that player, and nobody ever talks about Coach Butkus. Like, at some point, do we not have to have a conversation that, hey, maybe we don't have the right offensive line coach here? Again, I love the last name. His uncle, Dick Butkus, talking about a dog. I mean, I hate that he played for Chicago, but just one of the greatest in the history of the game. But I look up at Luke Butkus. This is, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking at it from a different angle. Maybe I'm misremembering. But we were always known as having a great offensive line, right? That was kind of a staple for Green Bay here in the last decade, or probably even further back. Is it just me, or when Steno went to OC, the offensive line started taking steps back? That's what it felt like to me. I don't know. What do y'all think? Am I wrong there?
I don't think so. Not completely off base, right? Especially the last couple of seasons. But, I think it also comes to roster structure. We talk about you need versatility on your O-line, right? You need versatility in the trenches, period, both sides of the ball. But, you also need your anchors. You need guys that are going to play, a certain spot at a high level. And, as Jacob would say, be steady Eddie for you. And, other than Zach Tom at right tackle and Rasheed Walker at left tackle, I don't know what kind of continuity and consistency we really have on that O-line other than Elton Jenkins, taking on this center role. So, and I still think he's a placeholder, for this season. We're going to have to make a decision going forward at center, after this year.
It's funny too. You got Ron in here, Pack Daddy's in the house. Me and him have not had a conversation about this, right? And I haven't listened to his show today. Maybe he talked about it earlier, and they're going, man, he's still in his content. I haven't listened to his show today yet. But he says in the chat, the O-line started going downhill as soon as we promoted the O-line coach to OC. That's exactly how I was feeling,
Yes.
Brian. And again, this isn't the first time I thought about it. It's been in the back of my mind for a while. Like, is that – and then you look up and Twitter's on fire. Packer fans are ready to fire the head coach. All right, maybe now is not the time to have that conversation about the offensive line coach. Let's see if we can put this fire out real quick.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you think, Amelia? How do you feel about that?
That was the exact same way I was feeling. It just seems like we kind of lost a little bit when that happened. And it's, it's nothing against Butkus, like you said, but Steno really had him humming in there. And yeah, you had, you had different guys and stuff like that. You're building it around, but you have a set of 5 right there that you're feeling pretty comfortable with, that you kept them around because you like them. You paid a couple of them because you liked them. Why can't we get a little bit more from them? That's where we're hung up. But it's tough, right? You're going to ask Steno. I know everybody thinks, that Steno doesn't do anything. He's still doing stuff daily, weekly, all that. How can you ask him to come take a downgrade back to going to O-line coach and then holding that down? There's just a lot going on, I feel like, in that offensive meeting room for everybody, for each of the position groups. He's got to worry about wide receivers and Jordan. He's got to worry about the backs. The other day he was talking about how he's got to get Emmanuel and Josh going at the same time because he likes the way the offense is working that way. So, like, those little things that he's paying attention to there, you're losing that time on the little things you could focus on, with Banks' footwork or Morgan's punch or things like that.
Yeah. Definitely. And if you guys are wondering what podcast I was just talking about, you just watch on YouTube. You can find this podcast or this show in podcast form, and an even better show, Ryan's show, Packernet Podcast. Just scan the QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to Packernet Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts at. Make sure you subscribe. And He does a show every day. It's awesome. He also does Packernet After Dark, where he gives you a number to call in. You can call in, leave a voicemail, and kind of voice your opinion on the Packers, and he'll play that over the air as well. So really, really good time over there. So Coach Lynn says Stenavich needs to get back in that room. And, Coach, if I'm were to play devil's advocate for a minute, maybe he is, and we don't know that, right? We're not behind the scenes. Maybe that's, I've heard people say, what does Steno do? He doesn't design the offense. Matt LaFleur is the play caller. What is he at? Maybe he's still involved there, and they gave him a little bit more responsibility around the overall game plan. I don't know, but I'm with Ryan. It's weird, right? That as soon as he took the OC job, now the offensive line kind of took a step back, it seems like. So let's see here. Elliot in the chat says, Clay, on our O-line coach, we're too talented to have this production. I think I agree with that too. I mean, there was a time when Elton Jenkins was a dog, right? Now he's getting older, obviously, right? Who knows how long he'll be here, but yeah. Now Zach Tom's playing good, right? Maybe it's the old Brett Favre. Remember the Brett Favre quote where he said, way to overcome your coaching?
Yeah.
I love it, just talking trash to the coaches. He said it laughing too, only the way that Brett could. Fishy Thing says, I think you may have hit the nail on the head, Clay. Larry Cano in the house says, I agree with that assessment, Clayton. And let's see, 2-0 for this says, with Steno at OLC, offensive line coach, it seemed we always have a great line no matter the personnel. Yeah, it just seemed like they could just plug and play guys, man. And correct me if I'm wrong, man, but I'm trying to think of like the great offensive lineman that came through. When we drafted Zach Tom, I'm pretty sure Steno was still the offensive line coach, right? If I remember right. So maybe
I believe so. Yeah.
That was some time ago now. The years when you get to my age, man, they just blend together. So anyway, there you go. But I didn't plan on talking offensive line for 20 minutes, but I'm glad we did, man, because it is an issue, right? I mean, the running game's a problem right now. It's the reality of it. So, all right, moving along. Wide receivers leading the way, although it's only 2 games. I'm excited for him to get a 3rd game under his belt. Christian Watson, 74.7, looking awesome, averaging over 23 yards a catch. I think that was 2nd best in the league, 3rd best in the league last I checked the other day. Then you got Romeo Dobbs, solid year, man, 70.5. This is why we didn't want to trade him. There was the trade rumors, and you worry like, man, I don't want to get rid of a player like Romeo Dobbs for a 5th-round pick or a 6th-round pick and us trying to go into a playoff run here. You want his hands on the team. Then, of course, you got Matthew Golden, 66.2. You guys know my rule of thumb, man. If you grade out 60 or higher as a rookie, it's usually a pretty good indicator that they're going to be a good football player. I think I heard Ryan say that a long time ago. That might have been where I originally got that from, to be honest with you. But that's usually a pretty good measuring stick on whether a player's going to be good. And Musgrave, 54.4. Take a snapshot of that, guys. Yeah. I think you're about to see Luke Musgrave. I think he's going to surprise some people. Listen, he's not Tucker Kraft. He's not going to run through people's faces. But I think you're going to see him have just as many catches as Tucker and just as many opportunities, because most of those looks with Tucker Kraft, he's just schemed open, right? Yep. I think you're going to continue to see that with Musgrave. But
just getting the ball in his hands so that he can feel a little bit more comfortable with it. Game speed, game time, get everything a little bit smoother with Musgrave. I think he is gonna, I'm hoping to see him, 60, 65 and climbing after a couple weeks, and we're gonna need it, right? It's the same thing that you have in other years, next man up mentality. All right, it's your turn, Musgrave. You went down and tuck out the shot. Your turn now. And, we're going to have to have you steal some blocks. We're going to have you, go out and reach, leak, all these things. You might need to sift here and there, but he's a tight end. He played it in college. It's not like he can't do these things. It's just he's not Tucker, so we can't expect everything that Tucker did to be Musgrave.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, moving along here, Tim. Let's get into their defensive backfield. Listen, Cooper DeJean, he's a dog, 77.7, third highest graded corner in the league. He's going to play slot in their nickel. He'll kick outside in the base package. Actually, does he play safety, Amelia? Don't he play a little safety when they go through that? So let's see here. Slot corner.
A lot of slots.
Oh, look at this. 329 in the slot, 103 outside. So does he kick outside this year for them in their base maybe? So that's what it appears if PFF's got that chart right. But Cooper DeJean, 77.7. And then on the other side, you got Quinyon Mitchell, a 68.0, solid player there. Obviously, one of our best corners that we had graded. I think it was not this past draft, but the year before. And then opposite of them, they're showing Jackson here. Is that Adoree Jackson? Yeah. Yep. Adoree Jackson. He's playing like cheeks this year, guys, 47.1. Like the old Waterboy video, where's my B? Where's my Bears, my Bears?
There he is.
That's the guy you want to try to pick on if you can. Watch him prove it. Former first-round pick, but, man, he was a USC Trojan. Ugh. You know what I'm saying? Can't take that as a Notre Dame fan. But in the safety, in the backfield, guys, Blankenship, 42.3, Makuba, 52.6. Their safeties look kind of weak here, man. Looking kind of weak. Now, obviously, they make up for it at stack backer with Zach Bond coming in at an 80.0 on this young year here. He's grading out the 7th best stack backer in the league right now. Obviously, a former third-round pick out of Wisconsin. And next to him, they're showing Nakobe Dean. I was thinking he was banged up earlier in the year. It looks like he's got minimal snaps. Do we know if he's healthy by chance? Anybody know? I'll try to.
I don't think we saw. Was he on that Philly injury report?
I don't think he was. I'm going to double check. Yeah. But talk to me about what you just seen here, Tim, on this defense, man.
Obviously, Zach Bond, an absolute dog. You know, you talk about Tuesday players. There's one right there. But I think you're right, man. You look at that deep part of that secondary, you know, the safety room, other than, you know, when Cooper DeJean, the great white hope, when he's back there, then you got to account for it. But, you know, reading on the early game plan, you know, on our Patreon, man, this might be the game. We talk about establishing the run, man. We may need to attack through the air to give ourselves a shot against Philly in this primetime game. And, you know, Quinyon Mitchell, you know, on the boundary, we know how he plays, right? But I'm looking forward to seeing Matthew Golden, if he's a go, lining up in that slot against Cooper DeJean. That would be something pretty cool to see. But, you know, we have to be able to run the ball effectively enough to keep that defense honest. But I think you're going to see shot plays, man. I think you're going to, you know, see Matt trying to test this secondary and not let them live on reputation alone.
Yeah. Let's see here. Coach Lynn says Mitchell going to hold at least 3 times. I hope you're right there, Coach. Hope you're right. Let's get the laundry out there on the field. So the guy I was thinking about that was hurt, Emilio, was Nolan Smith, but he's full participation now.
Right. I pulled up Nakobe Dean. You were right, though, Clay. It looks like he was hurt. Week 7 is the only time they have snaps for him. He did play 31 snaps, but he was a partial starter. And then week 8, he had, 33. So those 2 grades, he had a 67.5 in week 7 and a 56.6 in week 8. But I think that I would say he's trending to play here this next game. But again, yeah, and I looked up Cooper DeJean. He's been in the slot pretty much the whole time he's been over there. So I think that him stepping up and being, you know, he's also a possibility on special teams and things like that. Just a dog. And I remember that was a 2nd-round pick, right? So we had there, we were looking at him. There are all these other things, different options, but you know, it's just we had our eyes on him. That's all.
The people that say you should have drafted Cooper DeJean, I always say, so you would rather have Cooper DeJean over Edgerrin Cooper? My answer is
so
no.
Much speed and athleticism in that middle of the second there.
But their immediate argument goes, no, Cooper DeJean in the 1st round. I'm going, nobody else had a 1st-round grade on him. Yep. Now we're playing revisionist history here, right? Yep. Like nobody had a 1st-round. If somebody had a 1st-round grade on him, they would have taken him in the 1st round, right? And sometimes you get to pick 34, 35. You know, okay, we had a 1st-round grade, it just didn't work out. The fact that it took him selection 40, that tells me that the Packers aren't the only person that didn't see him as a 1st-round pick. You know, so
they took him after they took their number 1 corner, Quinyon Mitchell.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. There you go. So that tells you they had a 1st-round grade on Quinyon Mitchell with the 22nd selection, and they probably had a 2nd-round grade on Cooper DeJean that they took in round 2, pick 40. Right. So, again, my argument is always, I know I would love to have Cooper DeJean. You kidding me?
Yeah.
We were high on him on our board. I remember it. You know, we had him very high. The tiebreaker for me, the cluster buster for me was, okay, some people seen him as a safety, other people seen him as a corner. And I'm like, okay, if there's a little bit of you're a little hesitant on where he's going to play. I'm sick of the projects where it's let's bring this player in because we think he can play here, right? We do enough of that as it is. I mean, for God's sakes, how many times we're going to draft a tackle and kick him in the guard, right? We do it all the time, right? So I don't know. That's just kind of how I see it. I'm probably wrong there, but so anyway, that's what their defense is looking like. So that's
on the secondary real quick is I started one there from Jen Wright. I think she said something about Ja possibly replacing Jackson.
That makes sense, right? Yeah. Let me go to Ja real quick. and see how he's playing. I'm assuming he ain't playing great because it just seems like he
I
can't.
think he's only played in what, 5 games this year? Four or 5 games.
I'd
this
say that's
season?
probably accurate. Let me see here. I'm going to pull it up real quick. Lord have mercy. Ugh. It's saying his overall grade's a 36.9.
Yeah, remember he got cooked against Buffalo twice.
Yeah, dude. I'm not. We'll go ahead and drop this down because we're done here. Let me pull this up real quick. I did not expect that. I mean, I didn't expect him to look, great on paper, but this is pretty ugly. He's played in looks like 2 games.
Yeah.
Week 1 in Buffalo, 29.8. Then he came out in week 5 and played 28 snaps, 60.9. If I'm looking at this right. So, yeah, put him out there. I'm okay with. I did not expect him to grade out less than Adoree Jack. I don't know about you guys, but that catches me off guard a little bit.
Yeah. And maybe not a full-on replacing, but maybe, heavy rotation there, rotating that spot.
I think
they're
Jen's right.
going to put Ja out there, man. We're going to see at least 20 snaps or something like that probably from him.
I think Jen's right, no pun intended, but I think Jen Wright is right that they'll probably try to work him in. I did not expect those grades. That's wild. So
yeah, someone that you're very familiar with, and Jordan's familiar with him. He's thrown against him a lot. I think maybe there's a couple of tells that Ja would have on Jordan from in practice and things like that you maybe wouldn't get from somebody else. But again, he's got to get reps. Again, he's going to have to stop the run. He's going to have to stop Savion, Josh Jacobs, all these things that are going to be out there. And, maybe you want to press him a little bit, run to his side once in a while. You might want to, screen to his side. Just test him, see if he's ready.
Definitely.
It's a great point. You want a balanced attack against Philly, but you probably want to lean a little more into that passing game, like we were saying earlier.
Yeah, great point. All right, so there you go. That's our offense against our defense. I think we're going to wrap it up there tonight, guys. I'm hacking over here. I know everybody's getting tired of hearing it. I apologize. I don't know when I'm going to get over this. It's just it comes and then it gets in your mind. Crap, am I going to cough? Now you overthink it and you end up coughing when you probably wouldn't have. But I'm trying to put out multiple shows a day and not be sound like I'm throwing up into the microphone. If that makes sense. So
wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
All you can do.
Perfect drop.
Is Ja going to appoint himself captain?
That's my God.
Boy.
Would that not be golden, guys? Think about that. If we get out there and the 3 captains for the Packers walk out and 4 captains for the Eagles walk out and Ja's just out there like, I'm going to call it all. Oh my God, that would be.
Yeah, I got this, Nick. Don't worry. I got this, Nick. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I'm going to go out there. Yeah.
Heard it from a fan right here.
Perfect.
It's going to be absolutely awesome, man. Talking about full circle, you end up beating Aaron. Jordan beats his mentor and Aaron Rodgers, right, in Pittsburgh. And then 2 weeks later, Ja comes back and makes himself a captain in Green Bay, gets suspended the next game, and then goes full AB and walks off to the sunset. We never hear from him again until he's extradited from another country. But we'll talk about that another day. So, anyway, anything else y'all want to hit on? Tomorrow we'll dive into their offense against our defense. I apologize, guys, but yeah, it's getting pretty bad out here.
No, perfect. No, excited for the team. Our O-line does need to step up, and it's going to be a battle. We're going to have to see. You got to play clean. Hold when you can. Don't get a flag. Like Matt says, call a good game, call it even. But I think that we really need to start opening up some holes. I think you're right, Clay. Get some stretches going. Got to get Josh Jacobs hot. I don't care what it is, Matt. You might need to run 2 times, 3 times. I mean, one offensive possession, 3 runs type thing. We need a tone setter. If we need points on the board on the first drive, I think it'll set a real good tone. You're home. Crowd's going to be in it. You got to keep them in it under the lights. You got to show up.
Absolutely. Ken James in the chat says 29-26 Packers. Hey, I'll be all right with that, man. That's I think it is going to be a lot closer than people think. I think there's a lot of people in the media that thinks the Eagles are just going to go out there and boat race the Packers. I don't think that's going to happen at all. So I know Tim's going to be
a premium in this game for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, man. It'd be nice to get a handful of turnovers in this game to make up for the lack of them throughout the year already. If you win the turnover differential in this game, I feel really good about being at home. The Packers pulling out a dub. But it's easier said than done, man. Jalen Hurts playing pretty good football. They got a good receiving core in A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. We'll talk about those Tuesday players. We'll get into that tomorrow as well. Sunday, we may get into it a little bit more too, more of the game plan. But and keep in mind, guys, Sunday, as long as the voice holds up, we're going to be doing a double live hate watch party. All right.
Jacob's excited.
Yeah, Jacob is going to be watching the Vikings game and giving you guys play-by-play. We'll be in the same show on the same screen here. I'll be watching the other game. Who was it? The Bears game, right? I'll be watching the Bears game and giving you guys live updates. So we'll just kind of hang out on Sunday and watch some NFL football together. And then obviously everything's got as early as it is. It's week 10, but there's still playoff implications, man. They're unfolding every single week. So make sure you guys tune into that. And then, of course, that'll get you your football fix on what we would normally watch football on a Sunday with the Packers, and then Monday Night Football coming up. Tim will be boots on the ground. Tim, you got anything else to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'm just getting ready for, under the lights, primetime, cold weather game. It's going to be awesome. I plan on not having a voice at all when I come in for the post-game show, and hopefully what will be a Victory Tuesday. So I'm going to be loud. It's a gold package game. I don't care what the haters say. Milwaukee Crew's going to represent. We're going to be loud on defense. We're going to help get that dub.
Love it.
That forecast for Sunday night, a few clouds, a few flurries or snow showers possible. Low of 22, winds 10 to 20 mile an hour. Let's go.
Bring the cowbell, Tim. Bring the cowbell, man.
Yeah.
Make that thing ringing.
Let's go.
And you know what's going to happen for the post-game show too, boys. When we get in here, we're going to have to flip that background on them and hit them with it. You know what I'm saying?
We've been waiting.
It's that time of the year. It's that time. I was rolling through the neighborhood the other day, Emilio, coming home, got the trailer with the mowers on it. Pull up, and there was a mowing crew out talking on their trailer. I just rolled the window down and crept it about 8 mile an hour, and I screamed, "It's the most wonderful time of the year." Just rolled right past them. They were laughing their asses off. I'm like, I love it. You could just tell they were not stressed. When we pass people like that in July, Tim, when it's rained 3 days and it's been 112 heat index, we just look at each other and flip the bird at each other. Sick of this. We just roll. So, anyway, that's it, guys. Appreciate y'all. Let us know in the comments what you think about everything we covered tonight. I'm going to get these videos out as soon as possible. Appreciate everybody hanging out in the chat. Y'all were great tonight. Hit like, hit subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. We'll be back tomorrow, probably multiple streams. We'll see how it goes, but we'll definitely be live tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central for PTA Live. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Thank you for putting up with the voice. Take care.
Here we go.
Nice.
Bye, guys.